Alright, everyone is hyped for the Cyberpunk collab, and honestly, I understand why. You've got people who have been saving for months, and you've got whales preparing for high dupes. And you've also got Cyberpunk fans who are going to pull regardless of what the banner rules are. After waiting over a year, the collab actually looks like it lives up to the hype. The characters look fantastic, the anime VA is brought back for the collab, and the attention to detail is immaculate. Now the city also looks incredible, and the fact that they added hacking mechanics looks like it's straight out of Cyberpunk, and it's really going to give you that Netrunner build vibe that you had if you ever played Cyberpunk. Now somehow Kuro is even adding more optimization, which just means that optimization in their dictionary means something beyond our comprehension, because they're apparently adding megalites to the city, and that just sounds like people are gonna have an even harder time running it. But hey, maybe let's just give them the benefit of the doubt because they've been working at it for over a year and the visuals do look stunning, so I do think that a little bit of performance hit is going to be had. Now unlike the other collaborations that we have been getting constantly throughout this whole anniversary patch, where you keep getting more bike skins and then you call it a day, this one feels like a proper collaboration because you can see the effort that has been put into it for the last couple of years. When I initially saw the backdrop for the live stream, I actually thought that was simply just an art they put up there, but to think that that's actually going to be in the game genuinely gets excited. So what's the problem? The problem is actually the banner, because the more I look at it, the more it feels suspiciously familiar. Like your normal tides are not going to work, your corals are not going to work, the 50-50 is still there, and you can still lose to one of your favorite standard characters, and the pity doesn't carry into or outside the banner. That sounds very much like the new Voyage banner, where you can pull Shorekeeper and the other 1.x units. So I don't understand why they've made a new system entirely just for that, when if all they really wanted to do was make sure that no one had pity going into or outside the banner. And that is exactly where my problem starts, because this is supposed to be a brand new collab banner, and they are saying that we can't use any of the resources that we have built up over time, but nothing seems to have changed. And it's different on paper, but for like the player experience, not really. You're still going to hit that hard pity at 80, and you're still gonna lose to Encore at one point or the other, hopefully not me. Now to be fair, there's one thing that could completely change my opinion on this, and that is if the polls are discounted. We've already seen the login rewards being handed out, which are like Astrites and not Radiant Tides, and the Astrites are actually 100 rather than 160, which is what you need to like get a pull. So maybe the angle is that they're giving you away 100 because 100 is what it's gonna cost to pull, and we don't have the numbers just yet because they haven't realized it. But if they do decide to discount it, this is going to be insanely player friendly, and suddenly this whole banner makes a whole lot more sense, because then players actually get something in exchange for all the restrictions, because right now all we have are restrictions and no pros to the banner, aside from of course the spending event that they have in the middle. But without the discounted pulls, I'm really not convinced. Now then we have another discussion that I've seen all over Reddit, and that is the power level. I'm not a theory crafter, so don't take this as fact, but from what I'm seeing, a lot of people are saying the characters don't particularly look meta defining or strong enough compared to like the 3.x cast, and nobody knows the final numbers yet because everything can of course change on release, and they could just bump up numbers or do other things later on. But this does raise an interesting question. If these characters are potentially never going to rerun ever, then why are we making them weak off the bat? Because power creep is gonna happen to every character eventually, and characters from 1.0 and 2.0 are getting replaced and they stop rerunning, but that doesn't mean they make them weak for their version or when they come out. But at least those characters, if you like them enough, you can vertically invest to keep them very strong for like a couple more years, and they last longer because their meta countdown actually starts when they release. But from the way the collab units are looking, it looks like their countdown started all the way back in 2.x. And of course, you don't need these for overworld, but we're talking in a sense that you want to do endgame and you want to clear those like easily, comfortably. You don't want to have to sweat for all of them. And of course, you play how you want to play. Some people just like having bigger numbers. So it's just a bit weird to me that they wouldn't cater to just about everyone with the collab, because they have been using like the collab for a very long time, and at least making them like Hiyuki level, because they are going to disappear forever. So they should age a little bit better than average in the very least for the time being. Now of course we're gonna have to wait for the release before judging, but it's definitely something worth keeping an eye on. For whales however, this is like fantastic. because I was also thinking about whaling for this in particular, because I have been spending my pulls on Ycha, Amith, and like her whole best in slot team along with Hyuki, and recently almost pulled a Forlova again. Now depending on your luck, because of the spending event, you're actually going to save a lot of pulls, and if you've already used all of your double top-up bonuses, we're talking hundreds of dollars worth of value, ranging from like $400 to $600. I've already seen discussions in Lucy mains about stopping points for like when you should stop pulling for Lucy, and I would recommend that people who are on the fence go take a read over there. I'm not going to be going through it because it may just be boring numbers to you, but for me, S0 R1 is around 200 pulls, because that's how I'm going to be calculating the worst case scenario where you lose the 50-50 and maybe get the weapon pretty quick. And while some people are saying that they want to stop at S3 R1, a lot of the discussion seems to point that you should actually fully commit to S6 if you're really going that far. But anyways, personally, I'm still on the bit of a fence about the collab, because I may just collect the characters and I don't know about the weapons. I'm definitely pulling for Lucilia because I can't afford my Linnea and Yuki teams, and Amith is insanely strong, especially with Linnea on the team, and I don't have Denya. And with the added bonus that Lucilia can also like work on my Forlova team if I ever need her to, that just makes her more of a must pull for me than the collab characters, even though they may never rerun again. Now, I am curious what everyone else is planning, because some people are saying they're going to skip, and some people are actually going to pull more sequence of Ycha, because apparently at S2 she's going to be a very good universal buffer, but that could be wrong because of how Kuro is doing a lot of hyper-specific buffers and sub DPSs. But it does seem that people think that she's going to work well with Augusta in the very least. So, are you one of those people who has been saving for the entire year and you're just gonna cash everything in because you don't care anymore? Or are you gonna be one of those who are just going to skip or just collect? And also, Kuro, please make him discounted, it's gonna save me a lot.